Welcome back, everybody. It's the Mike and Andy Power Hour. How are we doing today, Andy?
Spectacularly mediocre at best.
That seems about right. So, are we ever going to see all five of us together for a show again?
I hope not. Like I said earlier, it gets uglier when the other guys are on there, especially that pack.
We have the regular season coming up in less than 2 weeks, right? And most of these guys are just sitting at home playing tiddlywinks or pretending they have stuff to do so they don't have to be on here. So let's get into the North, or we might have some guests, right?
There might be a guest or two. Hey.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, we're all here. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
I don't know what's worse, a Bucks fan and a Bears fan trying to talk crap. Or your lame jokes.
Lame jokes? Did you say Lance jokes?
Oh.
Right. Anyway.
That was definitely trash caliber.
It missed. I see that. So, 2 weeks away. Preseason is. What can you say about NFL preseason? Is it necessary? Do you feel that it's more the NFL needs it for revenue, or because it's a business, or do you think it's actually good for the players to put out tape, get themselves a resume together of actual NFL game action? I mean, all I see is injuries every week. Every week someone's going down. And most of it's in the Bucs organization, so I'm a little pissed off. But give us your thoughts. I mean, what are you guys thinking?
So, yeah.
Don't y'all call at once.
Yeah, so I don't think the NFL necessarily needs the extra revenue per se. They made, a $1 billion last year. But, yeah, I think there's a good point in the fact that, the players, first off, need to kind of sort of bump heads in order to be able to get in that kind of shape. Plus, now you're actually establishing actual game film for the Canadian League or the XFL or USFL, or even if you go to Europe or Mexico. So football is starting to become kind of a global sport now. So, and
yeah,
you're always going for the next biggest job, step up, that kind of deal. So,
right on. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. Let me put it this way: the Bucs have 3 of their starting offensive linemen now in the injury tent. I mean, you're playing a potential starter in the third and fourth quarter with bubble players that aren't going to be on the team in 2 weeks. I mean, you got August 30th, I believe. Yeah, August 30th is final cut, and most of these guys are going to be looking for jobs in the XFL. I mean, Brian, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's something that, I'm not saying the NFL needs it, but they're a business and they're greedy. Let's not lie about it. Let's not sprinkle sugar on a turd and call it a candy bar. I mean, what do you think about all that?
I mean, you're right on the business side. I mean, anything that they can get their hands on to make money, they're going to do, right? So,
right.
An extra 3 weeks, for them, it's more money in the pocket, right? But in terms of the players, unless you're part of the all 22. I mean, that doesn't play. The rest of those guys are, they're trying to earn their spot. You're also looking for depth on the football team as well. I mean, you got to be able to see that. You got to be able to see the talent that comes in. But also for the players too. I mean, like Andy was saying, any tape that they can get on them playing will help them eventually, whether or not they get, whether they make the team and they get picked up by another team or whatnot. It's just injuries suck. It's going to happen. But obviously, unless you're on the all 22, I mean, you really do have to earn your roster spot somehow.
Right. And like I said, it's a resume. And nothing proves that more than seeing, I think, 26 of the 32 NFL teams that brought in USFL players based on one season of work. I mean, they didn't get much actual high competitive tape on them, but you see enough in that little segment of film, right? Jerry, I mean, before we get into the news around the league, what are your thoughts?
I mean, as you see all these injuries, you gotta think. I mean, you're not going to see those injuries if you don't have a preseason, but do those injuries just come week one, and they're even more because you haven't eased yourself into playing. You know, you see these teams like the 49ers did the first series of the first game. All their starters and stuff didn't play at all last night in the second game, but he plans on playing them significantly in the third game on Thursday. So
Right.
you are weeding your guys for contact, and you're having these joint scrimmages against the other teams, so you're getting them up to speed. From the summer of who knows who worked out and who didn't.
Yeah, but officials are at the joint practices. I mean, it's basically game, and then you got drills at the joint practices.
Why there's a physical game that's on TV and all that? That's all money. I mean, that's a business. That's that. And you have to have the preseason, because if you didn't have the preseason, then Cowboy fans wouldn't be able to scream that it's their year again.
Wow, shots fired early. I think Stout's asleep down in the corner. Mike, I mean, you were a practice player most of your high school and minor league career. Did you feel preseason tape was important? I'm just playing, man. Did you freeze on us?
I think he did.
That or he's falling asleep. All right, well,
Cowboys fan taking a snapshot of the season as preseason.
We're gonna let
I thought he was
Mike
doing his Michael Irvin impression.
his eyes would be a lot wider then. We'll bring Mike back when he fixes his connection. but yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the preseason is more for the fans to have crap to talk about. I mean, if they're just in practice, you don't get the high energy for the game. You know what I mean? So I think it's more for the fans. But is Mike back? No.
He's back-ish.
Let's see. We'll try to bring him up and embarrassing him. Mike, put your pants back on.
There he is.
All right, there we go. So seriously, Mike, I mean, what are your thoughts on the whole preseason? You think it's necessary? You
Well, fine. Yeah, it's what happens when you live in the country. The internet goes away every once in a while, so you guys got to. But hey, the real Mike's back. So hey, how's everybody doing?
all right.
Yeah.
Well,
That's quality.
No, I mean, it's a necessary evil for all the players that are trying to make roster spots, but I don't understand why we're, playing starters in the second and third quarter. I don't get it. But, it helps people get film that need to try to make roster spots or help them down the line to go, get picked up on another roster. But other than that, but the NFL's always been greedy. So what's the difference? I mean, they're never going to stop it. It's going to stay the same. And it'll just be like, well, we just had a bad year with injuries. But, I mean, it's not my team, so having all the injuries, so I'm all right with it. Help me out the first week. So I hope they play all their starters every single quarter to get up until the first game.
Rumor is they're going to play their starters in the third game for the Bucs. And anyway, yeah. Let's go north. You guys ready? Or you got something to talk about up there?
Yeah, there's a few things.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello.
I know. Brian, I know. The first thing Brian's going to talk about is old Mom Pa Jones. That a new strain of brie or something like that. So like, oh, you know what? We put a little salt in there. Next thing you know, it's right. Extra sharp cheddar.
Okay. How's your stadium project going?
We are going to have the greatest, bestest stadium in the history of ever to go with our undefeated team. Ever.
like
But we
ever.
apparently have a huge announcement that's coming today, so
It's going to be huge.
it's going to be huge. But let's see. With the Bears, we actually have a few transactions, for example. Last week, of course, we stopped at August 16th. That's pretty much where they were at the time. Now we, of course, have really actually nothing new. But there is a little bit of a thing with our potential starting center, our fellow Mr. Doug Kramer, who apparently was injured. They think what is that, Liz Frack?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Liz Frank fracture. Yeah.
Yeah, so that might not necessarily be, shall we say, a good thing, because that might actually end up putting him out for the year. Matter of fact, they in fact placed him on injured reserve. So, then of course we also have, they waived, of course, defensive back Michael Joseph, defensive back Jason Stanley, and linebacker Javin White with injury designations. They waived Noah Dawkins and tight end Rice and John. So that's really all that's going on so far with the Bears. Now, their first two preseason games, I will have to admit that they looked okay. Their second game, they looked pretty good. Granted, it's against inferior competition, similar to like inferior competition would be teams like the 49ers, the Bucks, for example, Dallas, Packers, that kind of thing. So, they of course played the Seattle Seahawks, and they look pretty darn good.
I was just going to say, I watched some of that game, and to be perfectly honest, you could tell which team looks like a professional team and which team looks completely disorganized between the two teams. And I think what you're seeing in Chicago is Eberflus's message is already getting to the players. Like he wants organization, he wants speed, he wants he wants everything to just be right, and to look professional. They've come out looking like that. They've been getting some praises. The only concern, though, that I see is that offensive line. I mean, even though Jordan Fields made some good throws in that second preseason game, I mean, the offensive line couldn't give him time at all. So hopefully, with Luke Getsy, he's going to put him in good situations to be able to do a lot of play action throws, a lot of motion, see what happens.
And they're gonna eventually kind of congeal to one unit, and you might be able to get that 3 to 4 second really spacer between the defense, of course, and Justin Fields, which would be good. But it's just one of those things, unfortunately, where they just have to get in there, especially when you have like players that are starting to go down with major injuries. It's just one of those things. It kind of plays on your psyche for a few moments, and you kind of move on, then you kind of get back into it. But then it's just, but as soon as everybody's been playing for, more than a week together, they're going to start to kind of do their thing. So, and I think the only reason why Tom Brady, I'm gonna bring this up because this is actually kind of an interesting point. Brady to Indianapolis is really, Indianapolis, of course, is what we consider to be the place where quarterbacks go to, end their career. And so it would make perfect sense that Tom Brady would be there.
Right.
Because he, for some reason he decided to, he took a little vacation. No big deal. I'll be back eventually. He's definitely a mediocre player at best. But wait till you get the response from that one.
Yeah.
But continuing with the North. We got your fan favorite, Green Bay Packers. Actually, we're going to go from the 16th. So tight end Nate Becker claimed off waivers from the Carolina Panthers. Carolina going to have a phenomenal year this year. Running back B.J. Taylor, linebacker Ellis Brooks, tight end Dominique DeFrey, and guard George Moore. Also on the 17th, you got safety Devontae Cross, of course, was signed. Wide receiver Malik Taylor was released. Now, with the idea that the Packers don't necessarily have a whole lot of wide receiving core material there, did you see Malik Taylor as being a plus or a negative on your offense?
Who knows? I mean, we're looking. I mean, they're trying to set up just in case the injury bug continues, and that with the big name of Bakhtiari. That's the key. That guy, Elton Jenkins just came back off an injury, and they're easing him in. Supposedly, Bakhtiari's doing workouts, but not doing anything like on field per se. Mm-hmm. So, and obviously, we don't know with that third surgery that he had over the summer. We don't know if that's corrected the problem. So they're not really saying much in terms of, is he going to be ready for week 1? I think a lot of this has to do with they need a body that they can feel like they can trust in this offense. And they're just doing anything they can, because right now, it's just looking like there's going to still be that gaping hole, on the left side. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, they did, in fact, also sign wide receiver Travis Fulgham. Is it Fulgham? Fulgham?
Yeah.
Or Fulgham? Anyway, they claimed off the waivers from the Denver Broncos. So, that, of course, could be your filler. But I see what you're totally saying about with Bakhtiari, who was always a very, very solid player. Now, the problem is with all of his injuries and stuff like that, they're almost typical offensive line type of injuries. Shoulder problems, back problems, things like that, knee problems, things. It's unfortunate he's getting to that point where, how running backs, of course, have a certain lifespan. Well, unfortunately, offensive linemen at times have that type of lifespan as well. So, professionally speaking, so.
Right. Also offensively is the tight end position is where my concern is, and because Tunyon has not come back at full speed yet, and honestly, he was struggling before he went down with his ACL last year. They got a guy by the name of Tyler Davis, who they thought was going to be a guy that they could throw in there, but he has massively struggled this preseason. Matter of fact, there are some rumblings that he may not even make the team, just because of all of his struggles. Like, he's totally crapping out on pass block. He's dropping passes, and he's not really doing much. So I don't know whether or not if he's just struggling with the offense completely, or he's just that bad, But this was the guy that the Packers picked up thinking this would be the guy to complement Mercedes Lewis in case Tunyon wasn't back yet. So that's a concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely understand, especially with that particular offense, because they always tend to actually have, well, and it's funny too, because who are you actually when you're throwing your tight ends, when you really need that last couple 2-3 yards to be able to get that first down. So.
Sorry, I was feeling lost back there.
I think you held out as long as you could on the Brady comment that Mike did.
No, you're good. I'll cover that in a bit. I just thought I caught Stout sleeping in the back, so I thought I'd pull him up, and it wouldn't be fair if he was up there snoring by himself. But
well, let's actually head to Detroit real quick. We'll finish up so we can get the boredom that is the South.
I will say the best for last.
We're covering the Bears right now. So, as of August 15th, Detroit Lions, of course, waived tight end Nolan. They actually waived the tight end. Detroit waived tight end Nolan Given and center Ryan McCullum, and released tight end Garrett Griffin. So there's 2 tight ends potentially for Green Bay. And Detroit also waived injured safety Brady Breeze and waived wide receiver Joshua Johnson. So there you go. There's a couple more players that the Green Bay Packers could potentially pick up. I'm just saying that they actually need that type of help on those particular positions, just simply because who else is catalytic converter Rodgers going to be thrown to?
You're right. Well, yeah, and then we'll see. Also, that's going to be like the wide receiver big question too. But obviously, Aaron's not playing in the preseason, so we don't know how this is going to go. But judging by his comments, he's not very happy right now.
Yeah. And so that's also the other part, is because of Mr. Rodgers being such a prima donna lately. So might end up in Indianapolis sooner than even Brady.
Did you guys see Aaron Rodgers' new ad for Hayden Hurway?
No.
You know what? I missed that.
We had it on a couple weeks ago. We don't. Anyway.
The feel, the magic of our life. On to the great north of Minnesota. They removed quarterback Nate Hairston from active non-football injury list and waived fullback Jake Vargas and outside linebacker Andre Miskey. They waived injured defensive line Krewe Stevens and wide receiver Thomas Hannigan. There's another wide receiver for Green Bay. Contract terminated vested vet quarterback Ty Smith. So I don't know what happened there, but it's Minnesota, so there's like 17 people that really care.
So honestly, Green Bay should be watching the Bucs waiver wire here any day now. They're going to have to cut it down, and there's a lot of veteran receivers that are. I mean, Scotty Miller could definitely help the Packers.
Packers want to get Yak though.
There it is.
Yes. Scotty Miller's one of the fastest players in the league.
But if they wanted a player that has, I would say, 80%, confidence in his hands, that doesn't get any yak, there's always a Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Watch his hammies.
I'm just. Who would take Mike Evans? I mean, who wants 8 1,000-yard seasons from a receiver? I mean, I don't.
Well, that's all fine. Well, that's probably why you're not a general manager. But if you look at it this way, if you throw in the ball 8,000 times a year, you're bound to catch at least one or two of those.
He's on the best receiving goal in the league. Anyway, we'll get to the best part of the show later. You got anything else in the north that you want to bore these fine people with, or?
We got all kinds of stuff in the north.
We gonna go east. What are we doing here?
Right.
You got more for us?
Well, apparently we're going to the east, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. So,
all right.
I don't know who the producer of the show is, but we're definitely going to have to give him the old firing.
Oh, Lord.
Normally it's just Mike and Jerry, but we've missed Mike so much. I mean, we'll all join in on the bullying or bashing of the NFC East. So, what's going on over there, Mike?
You guys kicked off high school football.
Oh, no, I
right?
figured you guys would tell me.
So,
I thought you guys were going to
that
tell me.
Turpin.
I figured that's what we were doing, right?
Well, let's look at Dallas, right? Turpin's
We
looking good.
I mean, I've been trying to keep my eye on it, but it's getting to the point to where I just wish they stopped preseason stuff. Because, I mean, look, everybody gets too hyped about the preseason stuff with the Cowboys and everybody else.
No.
It happens every year.
No.
I'm tired of it. I mean, I sent you guys that picture last night of Michael Irvin. They're going to, if a couple things, I think,
Hold on a second. Where's my booger sugar?
Yeah, I mean, they look good in preseason. Okay, that's good. That doesn't count. So let's move on. But I mean, we're in the same boat. We have no receivers. I talked about this at the end of the year that when they were going to start getting rid of Cooper and everybody else are leaving. Gallup left, and
at the end of your
now we have to deal with young receivers, and it's not looking good. I mean,
Well, there's a couple of veteran receivers that are going to be available. I mean, these teams got to cut to 53 by August 30th. You got teams like the Bucs that have 10 receivers that could play on a roster in the league. You're not going to keep 10 receivers.
Mike McCarthy is a wonderful gift from Green Bay, so thanks for that, Brian.
You're welcome.
Green Bay has put a high value on receivers ever since he's been there.
And he already loves all the receivers we have, and that's part of the problem. So, I mean, our kick return game looked pretty promising, but I mean, we're probably going to need it. So we got that going for us. So my biggest issue is what they're going to do. Because, look, if Pollard doesn't get the playing time like he should, he's going to be gone. I'm just going to say that right now on the offensive side.
Well, if he
And Ezekiel shouldn't be playing as much as he is, but he's going to, and because they paid him all that money. So either Dak has to step it up and be able to throw to these receivers, or we're screwed, because that's what we're going to do. So, and looking at the injury report with everything, I mean, when our promising thing is them showing a guy from, UCF doing very well, that's when I know we're in trouble. Justin Hill had a great game, and then we're all screwed. So it's all right, Andy. It's all right. I mean, calm down. But it is what it is, man. And then looking around everywhere else, I mean, they're saying the Giants could surprise people. What are they going to do? Win 6 games this year? I mean, come on. I mean, you got that team in Washington that's not going to do anything.
6 games wins the division in the least, right?
sometimes.
Yeah, the least. Whatever, dude. Still, I'm gonna repeat it so everybody can hear. The only division that has every team that won a Super Bowl. So until you guys get there, we are not the least. So right now we suck. The whole division sucks.
Right now we're the least. Is that
They suck.
right?
They're worse. I'm not going to say they're worse than the North, but they suck. The North is probably their worst division.
Is Philly really going to be a contender this year?
Huh?
Is Philly going to really be a contender this year? I mean,
the Cowboys will be in the playoffs again, but we'll go 8-8 or something. So and it'll annoy Jerry. It'll annoy Jerry, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Your optimism.
Annoy Jerry as much as possible, but I'm not going to do it because I miss Jerry, and I'm changing the way things in life. I love Jerry, and I think he's an excellent person.
And not handing the ball to the ref changed your whole attitude on life.
Yeah, it did. It pissed me off. I gotta be on the positive side anymore.
If Dallas plays Pollard, right, and he gets hurt, then what do they do?
I mean, they still got Elliott, but I mean, they're going to start Elliott regardless. But like I said, they can't. They bring him in every game for maybe at least 10 plays, and he touches the ball maybe 4 out of those 10. He's got to be able to run like he should be able to.
Ezekiel Elliott has been on a steady decline every season.
Well,
and it's increasing.
Well, last
he
year
looks like he's in shape this year.
He was playing hurt all last year, and I'm not going to make that an excuse, but he was playing hurt all last year, and that was one of my reasons of why he was hurt. Why the hell are you watching his snap count? But it just kept putting him in there, and as a coach, that's your job to kind of protect your players, and Carsey just let him keep playing. Well, I mean, it probably came down from up top because we have an owner that has to run everything, and that's one of the reasons why we won't be back to the Super Bowl until he dies. So. And he stays away from everything.
Chicago knows that, right?
Wow.
I mean, I'm trying to be positive about everything.
I'm having video playback and stuff like that issues, like computer issues and stuff like that. So I'm going to pretend I didn't hear what Brian just said.
Wow.
It's weird. Started talking about the Bears franchise.
Yeah, right there. There's like a little bit of a pause.
So realistically, where do you see the Cowboys finishing?
They're gonna go 10-6 probably, and I think they're gonna win the division. I think Philly will be right behind them, and then it'll be Washington and New York fighting for the basement spot again. So, I think actually Hurts puts out a pretty good year this year. I think keep an eye on Philadelphia with that. I think he'll actually have a good year this year if the offensive line can stay healthy. That's the biggest thing.
So quick question. This is no joke or nothing like that, but it literally paused for just a minute, for just a few seconds. You said who's going 10-6?
The Cowboys will. Why?
Wow.
Why?
Okay.
What? That's what they're going to do. I'm I'm not gonna say whatever, dude. I don't care. They'll lose. They'll tie a game. Whatever. I don't care. At this point.
All right then. So
They don't even
you
count
want to
one of
bash?
the games because it's so bad. That's what I'm saying. They won't count one of the games because it's so bad.
Your fandom is overwhelming right now.
I know. 'Cause I'm telling you, I found a new place of positivity, dude. I'm telling you. And it's just
So, do you have any more good vibes to throw the Cowboys' way before we go to our big announcement this week?
I'm this big positive person now, and I'm going to bash
I
my
don't have
people.
anything.
Awesome. So, we have a new show coming.
You're
What's
talking
that?
about Dallas Cowboys, right? The Dallas Cowboys? Going 10-6?
Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State.
No, I mean like the actual Dallas NFL Cowboys. I think they're good for at least 4, maybe 5 victories total all year.
What's sad is
Dak. He'll run it.
they'll probably start off 1-0.
The Bears are going to the Super Bowl again, according to Andy. I mean, he's still back in 1985. I mean, every year they're going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, the Bears are undefeated right now.
You remember
Undefeated. All right. So, starting this regular season, the Crüe will be adding a couple new shows. The newest show is going to be the AFC Roundtable. We have one of the hosts of the AFC Roundtable will be coming in here shortly. But before we bring him in, we're going to kick it to this. Matt, how you doing, sir?
Very good. How are you all? Have a good off season?
Not really. It's been pretty awful to be a Bucs fan right now. But so you excited about bringing us some knowledge of the AFC?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
What's going on over in Baltimore? I mean, we don't watch terrible football, so we don't get much AFC coverage unless they're losing to the NFC. So,
Well, you might
what's
not
going on?
hear about it, but we're going for 21 straight preseason wins tonight.
There we go.
There we go.
Fit right in with the Bucks and Cowboys talk. Americans.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as Lamar's healthy for this next season in Tampa, I'm okay.
Right. We're going to get Tampa's spot, man. Thursday night and that. Brady came and show up for training camp. Come on now.
Dude, have you ever tried telling your wife something and she was like, no, I don't care what you do, it's okay. And you make the decision, knowing she cares. All he's doing is trying to iron things up at home and save his marriage right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm single, and I always will be. In all seriousness, guys, word out of camp is Lamar has put on a lot of muscle. And, of course, a word around here during the offseason still is his contract. Let's forget all about that. He's representing himself. To me, it's overblown. It's way overblown. The man is going to have his season. He's big moments.
Speaking of,
he'll play well this season.
Michael Irvin last night.
No, I didn't. I was working last night. I didn't hear anything last night.
So Lamar's canceling all contract negotiations once the season starts. Do they get a deal done this next week, or is it he's going to go into a season without any new contract going into next season? He's a free agent.
Anything's possible, but like I said off air, I'm a little bit out of it. I was on vacation last week, so I need to get caught up what happened last week. But as far as I know, local media they were close like about 2 weeks ago. Word down here that they were close, so I wouldn't be surprised if something got done this week. But I mean, I'm happy that if it doesn't get done, that he's going to shut it down and worry about it later. If I don't know how much media you get except for SportsCenter and the NFL Network, but I mean, he's representing himself, of course, and that's going to take longer, in my opinion. And something's going to get done. Whether it's this season or next season, he's not worried about it. He's just that type of guy. He'll play all out.
I get Nick Jr., so I get Raiders games.
Yeah, well, let me ask you just a quick question, of course. So let's just say, theoretically speaking, that he doesn't sign with the Ravens next year, and he becomes a free agent. Is there any particular teams that you think would be a good fit for?
I haven't even thought about that because I can't see him. He came out a couple weeks ago and said, no, it's not going to be the Bucs, Mike. They got Brady. Brady's going to play another year or two.
He'll be in Miami.
Yeah. Getting back to the question, if you had a gun to my head, I think he does go back home to Florida somewhere. I really do. I could see that. I could see him ended up somewhere down with one of the Florida teams, Tampa. I can't think right now. I just woke up.
Jacksonville, Miami.
Jacksonville. I think they're too. Jacksonville, I think, is too invested in Trevor.
Right.
Yeah. I can't see him.
You wouldn't see him go to like an NFC team like the 49ers, for example, who that type of offense is actually kind of geared more toward running.
I think he wants to stay on the East Coast. So.
Yeah, you could appreciate the fact he wants to stay on the East Coast, but when you have several different heroes at the end of that contract, you kind of go where you go.
But he hasn't signed yet, so obviously I don't think he cares about money. I really don't. I think he's just from what I see on the media, he's a laid-back individual. I don't think money's the issue with them. I don't think he's that type of guy.
Yeah, more power to him if that's the case. But even if you're looking football, how about a Seattle, something like that, something that that would suit his type of play style.
I think he's more of a warm climate person. So I think he wants to play in like a warmer environment. I can't see him playing in Seattle.
Yeah, Christopher Cole, I hope you're wrong, but he could get it done. But
no, could be. He could end up in Green Bay for all you know, because they're number two. He's a solid number two. Don't get me wrong. So everything that we've heard lately, their starting quarterback has been a serious number two as well.
I actually got a good question with your offense. Obviously, Mark Andrews is a stud tight end. We all know that Jackson likes to throw them, but with losing Marquise Brown and Sammy Watkins, who are the receivers in Baltimore? Who else is he throwing to?
We have never had a receiver throughout our short history, I might add. And training camp, word out training camp is Bateman has really stepped up his game. And it's a very young group. Very, very young. And, You know, wide receivers all I can say is we cannot drop wide receivers. We cannot. I'm not worried about losing Brown as much. I saw him as a prima donna, and look, got himself into trouble a couple weeks ago. You know, I could see that coming. Look who his relative is. You know, so it's in the family.
No, we're good. So, Matt, we appreciate you coming on this week. You have any closing thoughts for us before we let you go about your day? Hopefully you'll stay on and watch, but we got to get to some other terrible conference, and then we got to get to the best. So.
Yeah, it's my birthday, so I got things to do. If you
Right on. I hope that was drinking.
Oh, yes, yeah. You got really an hour ahead of you guys, so it's not too early for me.
All right, brother. We'll see you this season. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Michael Irvin School of
So that's pretty exciting. AFC Roundtable will be coming at the start of the season. Hopefully we can get you guys to jump on with them sometimes when they play the NFC teams, and I really think it'll help grow our brand, so I'm pretty excited about it. So I forget where we were. Do we just want to skip and just go to the South and run about 20 minutes on the NFC South?
No.
So we're going to do that, right?
All right. Jerry.
I'm gonna need you to stop being rude to Jerry and let him have his time to talk about the NFC West. All right, that's just rude.
Who the
So
hell
let's just
are
move
you?
on to being nice to Jerry.
You're freaking us out, man.
So we're gonna.
Oh, oh, they're really trying to push it, aren't they?
So man, how you been?
Oh, dude, I've been busy, man.
Yeah,
So-
same here. You know, the show's been falling apart since we haven't been on it.
I know they finally put the people on that actually know what's going on instead of
Yeah,
talking about the
Our
Mets
ratings
all
are
the
going
time.
through the roof right now.
I know, I've seen that. So what we
Yeah,
got?
So I got a question. So all this talk about Trey Lance and is he going to be the superstar and all this stuff? Why do you think nobody realizes that he doesn't have to go out and be the entire team? Like, all we're asking him to do is go out and be better than Jimmy G. I mean, that's not a tall tale to ask.
Jimmy G was 2 yards away from winning a Super.
See, that's the first problem we have. They could just cut it in and out, and just the ratings drop like 3 points every time he gets on. They see his face, and
I know, it's awful.
I don't get it. It's just the media hype, dude. Everybody just wants to say whatever to make it. I mean basically,
he's coming in. He's got all the tools around him on the offense. I mean, you've got arguably the best tight end in the league. You've got a solid. Oh God, wow! You got a solid receiving core, and you got a great O line, solid running back core, and then arguably one of the top defenses in the league. And all you're doing is asking him to come in and just run that team. You're not saying come in and be a Justin Fields and revolutionize our whole team, or you're not asking for anything like that. You're just asking him to come in and be better than Jimmy G, which I don't think is too hard to ask.
No, and you got to look at it this way. I mean, Shanahan sets it up too. I mean, if you look, you're running first, and then you're throwing the ball. I mean, he doesn't have to make big plays, but he's going to need to make big plays at some point when you guys start playing and the games are close. But as of right now, if they don't get him in and let him start playing and figure out this whole Jimmy G situation and whatever, they need that. And then the Bucs will be really screwed.
Wow.
So, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, you think about it. It's just the media hype, dude. I mean, they're going through everything, but he's going to have. I think the Niners are going to have a rough year just because if he does end up starting and getting Lance in his first year. I mean, even though it's not really his first year, he's just going to struggle a little bit. And I think they're going to be running more than we'll be throwing the ball. So I think Samuel will be a big part of it again. So
Whoever that commenter was, he hasn't met the Cowboys yet, I guess.
So,
But no, in all seriousness, there are some big injuries with the Niners in their secondary. Both the Wards are injured. Don't know when they're going to be back, and have a couple injuries on the O line. But other than that, I mean, everything's looking good. We're hoping that everybody plays good on Thursday now, when the actual starters get in. So see how that goes. And then we have a fourth preseason game this year. I know most teams don't, but week 1 we get to play the other NFC North team of Chicago, or Arlington Heights. So we get another warm-up game there, and then we start our regular season.
So the Niners went out last night and came back and won, right? I mean,
Yeah. So
They probably brought their starters back in versus third and fourth stringers.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, you're going to be facing teams like the Seahawks that lost to the Bears. So,
And
but-
also the defending Super Bowl champs.
But at the end of the year, when the Bears are undefeated, hoisting up the old Lombardi, you'd be like, oh, well, we were who they thought we were. They were.
and then Andy's cat trips over the power cord for the Xbox ones. But,
are you?
so
No, seriously, Andy, are you on the Michael Irvin diet right now? I mean, Jesus, dude, that's bad.
If I was on the Michael Irvin diet, I'd be about 70 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Hey Jerry, quick question.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you have the Rams number in that division, right? So what does the possibility of Matt Stafford not playing due to his elbow injury do for that division?
The elbow injury that he has,
Yes.
I think that's all just an excuse to keep him out.
did he injure himself pushing that woman off the stage?
I think he might.
I think so. Yeah.
What? But if Stafford isn't playing in LA, their whole game plan is going to change. That defense is going to keep him in games. But you're going to need a healthy Cam Akers if Stafford's not a go.
He's hurt right now. So.
Right. So it'll change things pretty big.
Trust LA.
Oh.
Did you
Indeed, LA.
did you see Detroit is hosting or is hoisting their banner this week?
Our ex-quarterback won the Super Bowl.
Our quarterbacks won a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right. So you got anything big coming out though, or anything else going on in the NFC East or NFC West? Or are we gonna go south?
Oh, God, come on,
guys, we finally did it. We held them to 10 minutes.
No. I control the end broadcast button.
We can all.
I can still talk.
Oh,
What was that? The intro was so nice you had to play it twice?
No, we went east and then went south. It was one of them.
That's usually what happens when you talk about the Bucks.
We had a layover. We had a layover in New York, and then had to shoot down to Tampa Airport, St. Pete, Clearwater, whatever. Tampa Internet. You get it.
Took the
So-
Michael Irvin route.
I don't know if you're playing.
Christopher Cole asked and everything. I'll answer him real quick. Who are my eights and okay?
Mike, I'm getting feedback here.
So my 8 receivers for the Bucs. I have Evans, Godwin, Gage, Jones, Johnson. Those are pretty much locks. I'm thinking Tompkins, Stern, and Grayson make the team. I think you see Scotty Miller and Jalen Darden kind of edge their way out. So, see what I did there. As for tight ends, you're going to have Cam Blake, Kyle Rudolph, K. Dotton, and then you might actually see Keith being kept as well, more as an H-back role. He'll be off the line of scrimmage tight end. But there you have it. So, in the NFC South, right? Nothing but injuries. Falcons placed 2 on IR with Armstrong and Taylor. The Panthers possibly lost their future quarterback, whatever. Corral with the Liz Frank injury. They also lose Amore Barno, defensive end, tweaked his hamstring. Don't think he's going to be out the whole season. He's going to be out some time. The Saints put 3 players on IR, guard Forrest Lamp, tackle Sage, Daxter, and defensive tackle Jaquel Johnson, all on IR. And then the Bucs' litany of injuries is insane. Jensen, there's still no clear diagnosis as to when he's coming back. You lose Aaron Stinney with possibly another ACL injury. Cam Gill's out with a Liz Frank. He could come back for playoffs, but it's highly unlikely. Tristan Wirfs has an oblique, possible tear. Still waiting on results for that. The only good thing about the oblique is it can be played with. Pad it up, throw some masking agents on you, and you should be able to go. Depending on how bad the tear is, it could be the point that it can't be torn any worse, so they're just going to let him play anyway. But it's not soccer, so I think he's playing. Did you guys see what Steve Smith said about Baker Mayfield? Or not about Baker Mayfield, about Sam Darnold.
I did not.
Did you see it, Andy?
I thought we were doing the Brady Bunch thing. I'm sorry. I was looking over.
Yeah.
No, I got it. I ignore you guys when I'm talking. But did you guys hear it clearly? He basically said watching Sam Darnold play quarterback is like listening to him read a bedtime story. He's going to put you to sleep. So he's fully behind Baker Mayfield. And is it just because of Baker's moxie, or has he really won the position? Because I haven't seen anything that says Baker's playing exceptionally well. You don't see games like Josh Allen had this week where it was like 3 for 3, 45 yards and a touchdown. That's not what you see from Baker. So,
if Baker is in fact going to be potentially the starter for that particular team, that's fantastic. You know, he might be able to get that actual opportunity to be able to showcase his talents. If by chance he can actually tone down his, I don't want to say necessarily ego, but if he can actually tone down to where you give what the defense, or you get what the defense gives you, I think he'll have a lot more success than trying to actually do something that's, like a Brett Favre, for example, or like even Jay Cutler used to when they try to get that ball, they try to force a play that's going to get them into trouble. So if you actually you just get what they give, and you're going to have a whole lot more success. And I think Baker Mayfield would be square within those crosshairs because he's not a bad player. He's got issues, I'd say.
Well, yeah, you're right. But Baker, the difference between Baker Mayfield and or Sam Darnold is, Baker's experienced the playoffs. Baker's been on a good team. Cleveland obviously made the decision to move on. But you got a guy with experience. Granted, it's only a game in the playoff experience, but he's got experience, and that's what Carolina's looking for. Sam Darnold's been given every opportunity. And obviously, Steve Smith is, he is vocal on some things, but Sam Darnold hasn't impressed at all. and you need somebody that's actually going to go out and play the position with a little bit more flair. Baker will bring that. Granted, he makes tons of mistakes, but just remember how the season got set up this year with game one. Where's
Right.
we're going? Going right back to Cleveland.
At the same time, you've got Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. They have the same exact stats. So, I mean, you can say that he has playoff experience, but he plays the same caliber as Darnold.
So even if you're looking at that, you're not going to have to worry about Carolina for at least 1 to honestly 3 years, because then by that time Mariota, of course, or whoever the quarterback is, it might even be like a Trask, whatever. But you're still going to have the South. Your main focus is going to be on New Orleans.
Did you guys see by chance? Speaking of that, week 1 is magically against the Browns. Did you see that the suspension was extended until 11 weeks?
Yeah.
And magically, that's the game that they play the Texans.
Yeah. You guys have done a great job at keeping us from getting to the best team in the league. I appreciate it.
What do you guys think?
Well,
This is what I think.
and this is what I think. Basically, Carolina has.
So let's get to the Bucks. Last night was awful. All it did was prove that Kyle Trask is not an NFL quarterback yet. And being where he is with the Bucs, he's not going to get that chance to be an NFL quarterback. Needed. He's not going to get the game film needed. He's not going to make adjustments needed. He was a wasted pick, and a lot of Bucs fans are still clinging to that, and that he was a good pick, and it's just so frustrating. And then you see him paraded out there. He holds the ball for 4.5 seconds every goddamn snap. I mean, it's the NFL. You can't do that. Anyway, players that played well last night. Rashad White, he might unseat Lenny as a starter. He honestly looks great. Reminds me a lot of Eric Dickerson. It was nice to see Carl Nassib back with the Bucs. Had his hand in the dirt, still made his way to the quarterback. Also played off the edge well. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka had great pass rush. Unfortunately, he always over pursues the ball, which leaves him susceptible to a quarterback stepping up or stepping out. But I think he'll get that with time. Anthony Nelson again played well, earning himself a spot on the roster. Trask didn't look that good last night. But Bucs got to cut 5 players by Tuesday, much like the rest of the league. And you got to cut the rest of your team down to 53 by August. So you're looking at close to 30 cuts within, 2 weeks? So, and honestly, you're going to love hearing this. That's all I got on Tampa. Brady, as soon as Mass Singer's over, come on back. We're ready. I would love to see the Bucs go get J.C. Tretter. Why is he not signed? Number 2 ranked center in the league last year, still not signed with anybody. There's got to be a reason. Is it because he's NFLPA president? Had that whole Deshaun Watson situation? I mean, I don't know. But there's a reason he wasn't signed. So, here we go. That was perfect placement. It gets me out of the way. You guys are great, but there's our scoreboard for the week. Put it back up. You have Dallas playing well against the Chargers. The Niners taking care of business in Minnesota. Like I said, they came from behind. And anytime the Saints lose, this Bucs fan is happy. The Bears bringing back the Echoes at 85. Undefeated, baby. You got to be loving that. We're going to give you a Gatorade bath next time you're in Indiana just for being 2-0 in the preseason. Maybe you should take a regular bath, too, because I can smell you from here. And the Bucs lose to the Titans. But you guys got anything else for us this week? It's great to see all 4 of you back to the show. Andy and I were worried you guys weren't going to come back and we'd have to make up shit every week.
thing just fall apart without us here.
Not really. We actually had to go in like a finely tuned, well-oiled machine.
I'm
With
at a loss for words. I
tires.
don't know what to do with myself right now for the next 30 minutes because I'm not hearing about the Bucks.
There's not much to talk about in Tampa. Injuries are depleting their offensive line. Kyle Trask is not the answer. Rashad White is. That's all I got.
I just hear somebody making excuses already for week 1. That's all I hear.
Ooh.
Do we have a show bet? Let's get a show bet.
Now he's confident in his team.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just making excuses just in case.
Right on. You guys got anything else before we end the show?
Yes.
Awesome. Brian?
Go
Sure.
Niners.
Stout, you got anything for us? Awesome. Jerry?
Cowboys suck. Go Niners.
All right, hopefully we see you all next week. We'll have a show time and day for the AFC Roundtable, and we have more shows to come. Keep posted.